Good evening. This is Adria, your Athens, Georgia Townie weather girl, and we're here to talk about the weather. Presently in Athens, Georgia, it's around 70 degrees. Winds are out of the east around 5 to 7 miles an hour. Relative humidity is around 96%. We're just now starting to see the rain move out of our area. We've experienced some rain pretty much all day long to varying degrees of intensity. So that's going to move out of our area. We're going to get a few hours of reprieve from the rainfall before it starts building back in a little bit later tonight. Throughout the day today, we just heard as I was just speaking there, we have yet another tornado warning. We've had a smattering of tornado warnings, both in South Georgia as well as South Carolina and in Florida throughout the day. Earlier today, we actually had 5 tornado warnings all at the same time, just northwest of Waycross, Georgia. In fact, one of those tornadoes was actually confirmed on radar with correlation coefficient. We had debris up in the atmosphere, and then that was later observed as an actual tornado on the ground. So we've definitely had some tornadic activity happen, and it's expected that that's going to continue on. More so in the southern area of our state and southeastern area is probably where they're going to have a little more risk of that happening. But we are definitely within a 2% chance of having tornadoes tonight in the Athens, Georgia area. That could tick up a little bit, but I feel that's 2% is probably fine. All right, so where is Helene right now? Helene is right now off the coast of Florida, and she is looking really fine right now. So when we had our stream early this morning, she had taken in some dry air and was looking pretty janky, and honestly had been struggling to really get going as a hurricane for almost a full 24 hours before that. However, in the last 12 hours, it has really gotten its act together, and in fact, just literally within the last 15 minutes, Hurricane Helene has been upgraded from a Category 3 to a Category 4 hurricane by the National Hurricane Center. So we're already dealing with a major hurricane, but now we're dealing with a potentially catastrophic hurricane, which is a Category 4. So Category 4 hurricanes have wind gusts of up to 131 to 155 miles per hour. So that's just a very, very dangerous storm to have make landfall. Okay, so that's where we are at. We're now with Helene. We can take a look at Helene on the radar. So we'll just kind of scroll on down here. We'll see a couple of tornado warnings just a little bit east and south of Tampa. Let's go to that Tampa radar site and take a look. So here's the eye of Hurricane Helene here. There's a little bit of lightning happening. It is steadily moving in a northern direction towards the Big Bend of Florida, where it will eventually make landfall tonight around 11 o'clock. So once it makes landfall, it's going to continue in a northerly direction. So if you look below in the cone of uncertainty, this has been updated fairly frequently throughout the last 12 to 24 hours by the National Hurricane Center. It's for a while it drifts a little bit west and it came back east again, and it's gradually settled on this track, and I think this is a fairly good solution, honestly. So what's going to make landfall in the Big Bend of Florida is going to come up over Tifton, Georgia, Waycross to the west of Macon, and then it's going to go over Atlanta and eventually up into Chattanooga, and then find its way as a tropical depression in the Ohio Valley area, where hopefully it will provide a lot of needed rain for those folks. I'm going to have some water because I am thirsty. Okay. So timing for us, when can we start to see anything from this particular hurricane? Once it makes landfall around 11 o'clock, we'll start to see some winds tick up in the Athens, Georgia area around 11 to 12 o'clock tonight. And those winds are going to gradually increase in intensity until the center core moves through either our area or through Atlanta, whichever it may be. Those winds will increase till 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning when that center core passes through here. So we need to be prepared. This is going to come at an inconvenient time for a lot of folks because that's when most of us are sleeping. And I'm going to give my spiel about having a weather app here in a minute, so be prepared for that. All right, so we looked at the timeline. Let's look at the rainfall total amounts right now. I'm not even going to show you a map on that and just tell you we've had about 2 to 4 inches of rain, depending on where you are in the Athens area today. Folks in Atlanta and north of us have had quite a lot more than 2 to 4 inches. Folks up there around 8 or so inches, I've heard, in different spots. Tonight, we can expect to have another 4 to 6 inches of rainfall. That could be a little bit more locally, but I think that's a good expectation right now based on guidance through all the different models. Sustained winds through the system. We're expecting the sustained winds to be in the Athens, Georgia area around 30 to 40 miles an hour. So that's not a little stronger than your average windy spring day, but on top of that, we have the potential for some wind gusts. So we're going to take a look at a wind gust map right now provided to us by a model. This is the, oops, not that one. Yes, this one now. So this is the RRFSA model right here. This particular model does really well with wind gusts, so that's why we're looking at it. So we can see here in the North Georgia area, there's actually in the far northwestern corner of South Carolina and western edge of North Carolina, there's some splotching of brown. Those particular areas are potentially going to see wind gusts in the area of 70 to even potentially 70 to 80 miles an hour wind gusts there. So we are in this kind of maroon color, which is going to put us between 60 and 70 mile an hour wind gust. I think that's I think it's fair that might happen. We should definitely expect wind gusts in that 55 to 65 mile an hour range. Again, these are gusts. These are not sustained winds. So these will be winds that might increase in intensity for 30, 45 seconds, maybe a minute or so before backing off again. With the increased wind gust and the increased precipitation as the system moves through, are going to come the risk of tornadoes. We just talked a second about. We've had a lot of tornadoes happen earlier today in the Athens, in the South Georgia area. So we're going to expect to see a lot more tornado activity, particularly in the southern area, in the southeastern area of our state around Savannah. And there's a risk of tornadoes in the Athens, Georgia area tonight as well, as these wind gusts strike up with all the convection and whatnot. It's just perfect environment ingredients for tornadoes. Okay, so here's where I'm going to get into preparedness for this storm. So at the very start of everything, let's go over what you need. Let's start with, I think, one of the basics, and I think we need to look out for the folks who are in trailers, in campers, or even in tents. Find somewhere safe to be tonight. If you are in a trailer or if you're in a camper, please reach out to a friend who has a more stable structure to be in and sit with them tonight. Go see if you can crash on a couch. It's not worth it to be in this particular weather and risk your life, the lives of your loved ones. Just find somewhere to stay. I jokingly posted on one of the subreddits today. They were talking about, go to Toppers tonight, and that's legit not a terrible idea. They're going to be open late, and just go and and if you're in it's not a good time to be in a trailer tonight. No shame there either. It's tough. It's hard today. Okay, so if you're in a house, an apartment, whatnot, next thing you need to do is you need to have an application on your phone, a phone app that notifies you of severe weather. So you need to have that installed and configured for our location. You need to have your volume turned on before you go to bed tonight. And you need to also make sure and turn off Do Not Disturb. I have it on my phone every night, but I got to make sure and turn that off tonight. I got to do this too. Make sure and have Do Not Disturb off so that you actually hear the notification. It doesn't get squelched and your volume's on. You need a safety plan, and that safety plan needs to be centered around finding an interior room of your house away from windows. So once you have that interior room identified, the next thing you want to do is you may want to go ahead and grab some heavy blankets and move in that room before you go to bed tonight. If you have some bicycle helmets, if you have motorcycle helmets, football helmets, whatever, put them in that room and just store them for now. If you wind up getting a notification and you have an approaching tornado, you're going to hear that motherfucker. It's going to be really loud. You quickly get your loved ones and get into that safe room away from windows. Cover yourself up with blankets. If you've got bike helmets, put them on until the thing passes. Some other practical tips. So with the wind we're going to get, we're going to experience some power outages. It's going to happen. The ground is super saturated right now, and winds are going to be first blowing from the east to west, and then later from the west to east. It's just going to blow trees in all kinds of different directions. Our trees have been stressed this year with drought. The root systems have been. So there's a good chance that we're going to have a lot of trees fall, and some of those trees are going to fall on power lines. The majority of those power outages are going to occur in the South Georgia area and Florida. So we're going to have widespread power outages down there, and you got to figure with this, this Category 4, 131 mile per hour winds. There's going to be widespread power outages down there, and you got to think too. There's probably not going to be as many technicians as are going to be down power lines. There's a lot of crews heading down there right now. Some friends have seen them coming in from the north. So hopefully there'll be enough crews down there to get folks back online quickly, but down in South Georgia and in Florida, it's probably going to be a hot minute, and literally probably a few weeks before everything's restored back to normal. As far as the Athens, Georgia goes, Athens area goes, we're also going to have some outages here. It's going to happen, but I don't think that we're going to have that really long delay in getting our power back up again. We may have a day or 2-3 days or so without power. It's going to suck because I fucking love air conditioning. I fucking love it. And it'll be kind of brutal not having it for a while, but as someone rightly pointed out to me today, there are folks down in Florida right now who are literally going to lose their homes on account of the storm. Maybe they don't have quite the insurance they need to have, or it may just be they're renting from, and that thing goes away and all their belongings go with it, and it's fucking tragic. So we need to put that into perspective as we're talking about, oh my God, I'm going to be without the power. Yeah, well, there are literally people who are going to lose their entire house and everything in it. And that, just imagine how terrible that is. And it is. I wish that would not happen, but this is the way weather is sometimes. That is it. So to recap, we're expecting Helene to make landfall in the Big Bend of Florida tonight around 10 to 11 o'clock. We're going to start seeing the effects of Helene in Athens, Georgia, not long after that, honestly. Around 12 or so, 1 o'clock or so, we're going to start seeing those winds tick up. The rain's going to build back in, and the bulk of the push of the core of the tropical storm Helene, by the time it gets to us, will happen around 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. So ways to connect. So I am posting on the Athens subreddit right now. That's reddit.com/r/Athens. There's a live discussion there, a live discussion thread at the top. You can click on that and you can contribute to it if you like to. If I have information to share, you're welcome to put it there. You can also subscribe to my channel here. This is the Athens, Georgia Townie Weather Girl channel. So hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, please like it. I will more than likely come back on and go live a little bit later on tonight, and we'll watch the landfall together and see what things look like back then. But again, Hurricane Helene has in fact been upgraded from a Category 3 to Category 4 hurricane. So it's not getting any better, it's getting worse. And it's a very potentially very catastrophic and dangerous situation for a lot of folks. So we will talk to you soon, and please stay safe, everyone. Again, please make sure you have a safety plan put together. You don't want to wake up at 3 in the morning with a tornado bearing down and then figuring out what the heck you're going to do. You might want to get that together now so you don't have to stress about it. Okay, all right, take care, and we'll talk to you sometime soon.